Today on CityCast Denver. Denver Beer Week kicked off over the weekend, and while many Denverites are excited to celebrate at their favorite breweries, we're still, of course, in a pandemic. So, how do you host events and celebrations while keeping your staff and customers safe? One Latino brewery might have cracked the code, using an approach that informs their customers instead of turning them away. Today is Monday, September 13th, 2021. I'm Bree Davies, and this is CityCast Denver. Tamil, thank you. Thank you for joining me. Welcome to CityCast Denver.
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me. We are very excited to actually do this interview with you all.
Tamil Maldonado is one of the co-founders of Raíces Brewing Company. While many breweries host events and shows, Raíces is a bit different in that they especially cater to Latinos in Denver, a community that has been underrepresented in the brewing scene. But with Latinos still the most under-vaccinated demographic in Denver, Tamil and her team have had to use their own personal experience with COVID as a means to inform their community and keep them safe. So I've been to Raíces for a lot of community events. Everything from birthday parties and artisan markets to political events and neighborhood workshops. I can imagine COVID had a pretty big impact on Raíces, not just because you guys are a local business, but you're also a community hub. Can you talk about your experience with the pandemic?
We opened in September 27th, 2019, and we had to close March 16th, 2020. It was less than 5 months open. And we closed for 2 months and a half completely on the tap room. So it was a challenge for us. So we started doing different events that were like through social media, competitions, fun things, also providing some space for artists. We started a YouTube channel called Raíces Unmasked, presenting different artists through that channel.
And you've been pretty public about it. You got COVID, right?
Yes.
What was your experience? I mean, you're a business owner. You're also trying to keep the community together, as you're saying. You're doing all of this work. How was your experience with that?
One of the things that we were doing during the time that we were closed, it was strategizing on how we can be safe when we open. So we bought the thermometers and we bought the hand sanitizers and we bought, we even bought like a foam that actually sanitized everything. And it was very costly at that moment, but at the same time, we want our people to be, the visitors and the employees to be safe, masks and all of that even before the city was implementing this. We were bringing stuff because we wanted to be ready. So we did that throughout the whole year. And in February, they started to open for food service, vaccinations, and so on. So we were very excited because we didn't have any outbreak in Raíces. But what happens is that Jose, which is my husband and co-founder of Raíces as well, he lost his sister in Maryland. And we decided to travel. And when we traveled to Maryland, that's where we actually got COVID. And it was right before the vaccinations. And then when we came back, from there, we both were hospitalized.
Oh my gosh.
And we went to the hospital. We actually were in the hospital for 3 weeks plus. So it was a very harsh time during that month. And while we were hospitalized, we were making arrangements for our employees to get vaccinated.
So looking at the data, only about 44% of the Latino community in Denver is vaccinated. And it sounds like you were obviously working very closely with your employees to make sure folks were getting vaccinated. What kind of work has Raíces done in the community itself to share information about the benefits of the vaccine?
So we started a campaign. We felt that we needed to be more vocal about it. more in campaign, like, hey, it's your choice, but hey, I want you to be safe. I want to actually sit down and drink a beer with you. That will be a win. We did stickers, but also we started doing clinics at Raices. Here, it's available for you. You can come. You don't need documents. You don't need this. You don't need that. Just come and just get safe.
So you were hosting when you were talking about clinics. You guys are Races was actually hosting vaccination clinics. Folks could come and get vaccinated.
Exactly. And we know that is very hard in our communities, in people of color, underrepresented groups, Latinos. Is very hard, and we understand why. It has been, in our history and stories, we were taken as the first guinea pig,
the guinea pigs
to
for
actually test
yeah
vaccinations and test other things, right? And I think that our people actually works when we talk like one-on-one, trying to talk about it, like honestly, like what are your fears, right? How can we talk? How can I say also my story about with COVID-19 and why I think it's important that you get vaccinated, and really getting into a personal level.
So with the clinics, can you explain like how they work?
We actually, at the beginning, we were doing clinics that were like with kind of a booth, a tent, and so on. Later on, the governor actually created these buses, empowered the comeback and all of that in Colorado. So we use those buses as well. People could register online, but they can also like step in. And during the times that they are there, we are also providing discounts for people that hasn't been vaccinated, just to provoke that they actually get into it, or provide a beer for free sometimes, or the discount. Even in our apparels and stuff like that, just some perks for people to get encouraged.
Yeah. And you think that those fear you mentioned these fears before, but folks, historical trauma with vaccines and such is why we have such a low rate for the Latino community getting vaccinated. Yeah.
There are concerns about health when they were talking about blood clogging and all these different things with one of the vaccines. We have people with a lot of conditions in the Latino community, high blood pressure and diabetes and all these different things. So, and then, people not believing it, or people that has been overwhelmed with misinformation. And there are people that needs more time. They want to see how many people have been taking it, if there's any death, like they want to make sure that it doesn't happen to them.
So you're really taking a personal approach to this, and just instead of saying this is a requirement or like you must be vaccinated, here's the ways you can get vaccinated and here's why it's good to get vaccinated, and addressing those hesitancies like you're saying, historical issues, where communities have been put in danger by vaccines, and saying this is different now, we're in a different place and we went through this experience.
Yes. And we have to acknowledge our traumas as a community,
Yeah.
And also talk about it. And it's fair for people to be afraid. I mean, it's fair for people to not really know anything about the vaccine. We try to facilitate that information. We try to be very human about it, not judgmental.
So are you requiring vaccinations for folks to come to your brewery, or wear masks, or sort of where are you all with that part?
No, we are encouraging them to wear the masks if they haven't been vaccinated. We're encouraging them to get vaccinated. When we have a date for vaccinations, we really like do campaigns on social media and our bulletin boards and all these different things. But as I said, like we don't feel that we need to be like, oh, if you're not vaccinated, you cannot come in, because what we want to provoke is the conversations. So
Sure.
if we hold them out, we cannot have
You
the
can't have
dialogue.
that conversation.
Yeah.
Daniel, thank you so much for joining me today.
No, thank you for the opportunity and saying hi to everyone that listens, your audience.
Raíces is hosting their annual Suave Fest this Saturday. Attendees can find beers from 14 Latin American, African American, and Caribbean breweries from around the country, as well as live music and more information about Raíces vaccination efforts. And here's what else is happening in Denver today. Since Mayor Hancock announced a vaccine mandate for all city employees back in August, 7% of those folks have requested exemptions. Denverite reports that more than 700 city employees, which includes police, elected officials, librarians, and more, have made requests to skip the COVID-19 vaccine. Police officers sit on the higher end of these requests, with 11% of the Denver force asking for vaccine exemptions. As part of a 3-state tour out west, President Biden will make a stop in Denver this week to assess infrastructure needs as part of his Build Back Better agenda. There's not much information available yet regarding his itinerary, but we're guessing he might be at Meow Wolf this week as part of one of their sneak peek tours. Tweet us at CityCastDenver with your Biden sightings. That's all for today here on CityCast Denver. If you enjoyed the show, call your mom and tell her all about us. Kindly give us a rating wherever you get your podcasts and subscribe to our morning newsletter. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. See you later. I mean, I say we're guessing he may be. So it's not like a president's ever gone to Casa Bonita or something. Actually, I shouldn't say that. I don't know if that's true.